If you're a runner over 50, the hardest part of an injury usually isn't the injury itself, it's the spiral that starts in your head. Today I'm walking you through the 7 fears I see over and over again and how to handle each one of them. I'm going through a lot of these myself right now, so I thought it'd be a good time to share with you. 1, what if I can't do the races I have coming up? This was the first one that popped in my head as soon as I realized I needed to take at least 2 weeks off per the doctor. I currently have 3 big races coming up in the next month, and I already had to cancel the first one, which is happening this Saturday. And I'm holding off on the other 2 right now, but I'm likely gonna have to cancel those too. Depending on your individual situation, you may have spent a lot of money for your next upcoming race, or you probably invested a lot of time training already. So I know that this is a really tough one. At the end of the day, you wanna make sure that you keep running for the rest of your life. Assuming that's what your goal is. That's mine, at least. So as heartbroken as I am, I just have to be really realistic and realize it's really just another race. I mean, I have to repeat that to me multiple times. My goal with running is longevity, so that why really helps me stay on track. So I'm bummed, but 2, what if I lose everything I've worked for? This is a really tough one because depending on the injury and how long you need to be out, you will likely lose a little bit of fitness, maybe even a lot. And as hard as that is mentally, I always try to look at it as an opportunity to learn from what I did before and how I can do things differently in the next training cycle. So for example, I do mobility work and strength training, but I probably could do some more or be a little more intentional about it. So I think next training cycle, I'm gonna focus a little bit more on that in my next training block. I really start convincing myself of the idea that it's really fun to start over. And actually, it's a concept come from Buddhism, and it's called 𝙘𝙤𝙣𝙣𝙘𝙤, beginner's mind. And the whole concept is if you are doing something for the very first time, like you've never done it before. So I'm excited to make pretend I've never been a runner before. You also might be concerned about getting your same level of performance back. I'll admit I don't really care about that because performance is not my thing, but that can be a huge fear for a lot of athletes. So just trust in the process, and I really would highly recommend finding a coach who's gonna specialize in post-injury, aging runners, and performance. I am obviously not that coach, but I can help with the technique side of things though. 3, what if I gain weight? Okay, honestly, I hate this topic. I really don't even like talking about it. And as I've gotten older, I care less and less about my weight. At one point on this YouTube channel, I actually tried doing a series on my weight loss journey. I might have even deleted it, I'm not sure, but I quickly stopped it. It just wasn't worth my time trying to go viral with a topic that I can't even really get into. We don't even talk about weight loss in the tribe either, as a matter of fact. We focus on body positivity and what our amazing bodies can do for us. So while I don't care, I know many women do. So you still might be able to do other forms of exercise like biking or other cardio depending on what your injury is. Strength training, hopefully you can still do. And I hate to say it, but you have control of what you can put in your mouth, and that is the biggest part about weight loss. Easier said than done, I get it. And injuries can lead to depression, which can cause binge eating and stress eating. So it might even be helpful to find a therapist. I definitely would recommend that if that's where you are. 4, what if I lose my routine? You might run because you're training for a race and you have that structure, or maybe you run because it's how you de-stress every day. I do both, and this was another big one for me. Although this is likely also the reason I got injured, because maybe I was too consistent and I never took any breaks last year. So you can find other ways to exercise if your injury allows, or you can find other ways to distress or fill up that time. For me personally, as I started thinking about this, I realized, oh, I have a little extra time on my hands, so maybe I'm going to focus a little bit more on my YouTube videos. I've been cleared to walk and listen to my body, so I'm dabbling very carefully with this. I keep reminding myself that doing this long term is my ultimate goal, so I really stay focused on that. What if I have to start all over? Well, this is a possibility, like I mentioned earlier, and the sooner you just come to terms with this, the easier it will be. Start finding the silver linings and starting over. I'm really pumping myself up right now and getting excited at starting over and doing things differently this time around. 6, what if recovery takes longer now that I'm older? Well, this is probably true. Our bodies are different and it may take longer than we'd like. And this is just another great lesson in learning to let go and accept this for the fact that it is. I am personally not willing to risk taking time off and healing and then starting up and getting injured again. I have already decided that it'll take a little longer than needed if that's what's necessary. But again, I know I sound like a broken record, but my ultimate goal is longevity. That is my why, and I don't want to risk this, which leads to the next one. Number 7, what if it comes back? This is, again, also entirely possible. Hopefully you're learning why your injury happened and what you can do going forward to avoid it. I've only been injured 2 other times before this, and I remember I was so afraid to get plantar fasciitis again, and it never came back. But I did all the things that they told me to do to avoid it from happening. And even though that is really not the same injury, that was also overuse. So clearly I learned temporarily, and I forgot about this last year. So I learned, but I had to relearn this again. At the end of the day, as I've stated a few times, my ultimate goal is doing this for the rest of my life. So I stay focused on that as my long-term goal, and anytime I get frustrated with these fears, I just keep reminding myself of that. Hey, I know there might be other fears out there. Am I missing any? How have you dealt with them? I would love for you to share in the comments so we can learn together. And hey, you know what? You can always book a call with me, if it's about an injury or maybe you have a technique question or anything about your running journey. That link is in the description below. I'd love to chat with you. See you in the next video.